So now we're going to look at what has happened since around 2017, 2018. The more important thing is that all of what I've talked about so far and all the examples I've given so far are based on what we call structured data. Structured data is very much quantitative, and you can feed it into an Excel table, is the best way to think about it. So a credit card transaction, you can describe it with many columns in an Excel table or in a SQL or SQL database. But for unstructured data like pictures, video, sound waves, recordings, and freely written text, natural text, that doesn't really fit well into an Excel table, and that doesn't really fit the necessary structure for using all the models that I described before. And most of the data that goes on in social media and in many of the things that we use every day is actually unstructured. So that led to the rise of deep learning, which, well, I say led to the rise of, but deep learning was there already. Deep learning has been in study since the 60s or 70s, I think, since AI began with Alan Turing, as many know. But when deep learning was first proposed, I don't remember if it was the 70s or 80s, we lacked the computational power and the amount of data to make use of this technology. But it's pretty much math. It's just very complex math that kind of distills, fragments data into very minuscule patterns and then reshapes them back together. It's very much a black box. Like, you can study them as a data scientist, but the more complex the models that you build with deep learning get, the harder it is to make sense of what is going on inside them. You just measure the outputs, and if the outputs look good versus your expectation, then it may be good enough to use in production. But what is deep learning used for? You can use deep learning for supervised and unsupervised learning. I didn't mention it first because when we talk about classical machine learning, we typically refer to models fit with structured data that fits into a table. And usually, even though we can use deep learning with structured data, the more traditional machine learning algorithms perform better. However, for unstructured data, there's no question. Algorithms based on deep learning mathematics perform millions of times better than the traditional algorithms that I mentioned in like the right side of this table.